All right. What's up? What's up, everybody? I'm here with my friend Danny Shannon, all the way from Australia. It's so good to be back on with you, Danny.
I know. So in my description, as I was writing the live, I said I'm so tough to be chatting with my American friend from the other side of the globe about recovery. So thank you for having me on again.
Yeah, I'm excited. And we got a really good topic for you guys tonight. So we're broadcasting from my page, from Danny's page, from our YouTube channel. So we don't really know where you guys are watching from. So if you are watching this right now, drop in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know where you're located at since we are all over the world tonight. All right, we got somebody here. Hey, Lucille, how are you doing tonight?
That's really good, Tony. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, let us know where you're watching from. Hey, Lucy. I recognize Lucy. Hey, um, cool. Hey, hey, Elisa. Hello.
Isn't that awesome? I love
How
how
are
it
you, legend?
does
So I
that.
know Elisa's from Australia. Where's Lucille from? Joanne.
Lucille, oh, so Lucille is, I love Lucille. She's always on our lives.
Oh, good.
She says that we are her two favorites. So I really love that she's
Yeah,
on with us
yeah. I
tonight.
saw her on mine too. Hey, Lucille. Um, from Winnipeg. Oh, yeah, cool. Victoria, Australia. Hey, Nick, legend.
Nice. We got a lot of people all over. We got somebody from Canada, Alexa from Canada. Oh, Lucille's from New York.
Oh, yes, of course, Lucille. We've spoken. Love New York. I'm obsessed with New York and Florida. Don't worry, I'm
Have you
obsessed.
ever been to New York?
Yeah, I have. I have. Hey, Vinny from Melbourne. Love Vinny. Good to see you, mate. Yeah, I love West Virginia. God, I watch a lot of. Funny you say that because I watch what's it called, Forensic Files, and there seems to be a lot of episodes on bloody West Virginia. There's some crazy shit out in West Virginia. Um, yeah, New York. I love New York. I've been to Florida also, Sonia, and LA. I can't wait to get back. I know the recovery in Florida, like in Miami, was just crazy. Like it was just so full on. Everyone was so into it. I went to a meeting with like 200 people there.
Oh, wow. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
it was awesome.
Tell me about that. I've been wanting to know this since we talked last time. I did my story on your podcast and we kind of talked and we talked about like the judicial system and how it's hard for people to get recovery. Well, it depends on where you're located at. It's not always hard for people to find recovery depending on where you are. But I want to know in Australia, do they have recovery programs like readily available for people?
So now I think, and this is just my belief. I know a lot of people say that we don't have enough services, but mate, there's like I believe we're very, very, very lucky, man. I think
Mhm.
like what my understanding is, it like yeah, it definitely takes a bit of effort these days, and you can't just ring up a service and be in there the next day. But so you
Right.
shouldn't. Like it wouldn't work if you could just ring up a service and be in the next day. You need to put in a bit of effort, jump through a couple of hoops.
Mhm.
But yeah, mate, there's plenty of services available, and most of them are free too, or you pay for it through your, through your income that you get from the government anyway. So which is free, really.
That's awesome.
And then if you've got private healthcare, you can get into a program within a day or two as well. And I think a lot of people's belief about there not being enough help out here is just a lack of knowledge in the
Yeah.
industry. Like I think you give me a call, I'll be able to steer you in the right direction. The only thing that can hinder you is really bad mental health, schizophrenia, bipolar. So if you've got a bad case of that, there's still services,
Yeah.
but it might be a little bit more harder to get in, you know?
Well, let me ask you this. So I just recently connected with somebody in the States that can help people get into treatment. So if somebody's in Australia, I have people reach out to me from all over the world.
Okay.
So if somebody's in Australia and they need help, could I direct them your way and you could help direct them?
Of course. Of
Oh,
course. Yeah, yeah. Look, the thing is, I'm in New South Wales, right? I'm in Sydney, and often I do have people reach out from all over Australia, and especially from Western Australia. And there is limited resources in those other states. I believe Sydney is the best place for recovery like I'm going to say in the world, because here I am 13 and a half years clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've done it without. So, of course, I have to stand by that. But I swear, like, even if you're from Melbourne, Queensland, I always tell people, if you want any chance, real good chance at this, come to Sydney and get clean. Like,
Hmm.
'cause a lot of people do. A lot of people come here, right to where I live, basically, to get clean, and then they stay. Like these Melbourneians and these Queenslanders, they start, then they become. Sorry, but it's true. They stay because we've got really good recovery.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know what we kind of were just talking about goes with our topic tonight. So
Yeah.
just so you guys are watching, if you guys have questions, if you have anything that you want us to talk about, drop it in the comments. We will be happy to interact with you tonight. That is why we're here. But the topic that we were kind of thinking about talking about is what are you willing to do for your recovery, right? Because just like you were saying about the detox centers and coming to Sydney, Australia for recovery, I mean, if you really, really want it, then you got to be willing to do what it takes to get it. And sometimes that means jumping through hoops. That's the way that it is here too. You can't just go to detox and walk in. I mean, you have to call and make an appointment, or you got to go sleep on their bench for a little bit, and then eventually you will get in. But it's a process.
I love that, son. You got to go sleep on the bench for a little bit. See, that's the truth, bro. Yeah, like what people, and I understand, like whatever our circumstances are, but yeah, that's such a good point. If you're willing to do that, and here's a big tip for anyone who wants to go to rehab. This is what I believe. I worked in rehab for 10 years, right? So I know all the little tricks, right? So it's one thing I like to say: if you're in jail and you're ringing up from jail and you're not getting through, you got to remember sometimes you'll get an answering machine on this end, and while your jail message is playing, this is a phone call from the Metropolitan. Like, you miss, and then they don't leave a message. Always leave a message. If they tell you to call Monday once a week on Monday, you call them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. These places want to see you making an effort. You know, I
Mhm.
don't care if they tell you to call once a week. You call multiple times a week. That's a big tip to help you get in, because the workers, even though you might be annoying them and making more work, they're going, well, Sonya's serious. She's bloody calling us every day. Now let's give her a crack, you know?
Yeah, I love that you said that. I was just talking to some girls about that earlier this afternoon, but calling and bothering them, right? Because a lot of people think, oh, I'm bothering them. I don't want them to get mad at me and not help me. I had a woman say to me last week that she didn't want to bother the person that's helping her because she was afraid that they were going to be mad at her for doing that. And that is not how people feel about it. I mean, it really shows your willingness when you make those phone calls over and over again and that you're advocating for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I got someone in the comments too. He works in a service in Melbourne, hey, Vinny. So I did. We got a couple of connections around Australia here too, and I definitely have a couple of ladies over in Western Australia too. There's not a lot of services over there, but you know, sometimes we are limited. So it's good that we can all share that. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, for sure. So thinking about, well, let's take some comments real quick and then we'll get
Yeah,
in.
there's lots of comments coming through.
Okay.
Wow,
So
it's pumping.
Karina says, hello from upstate New York. I have a family member that struggles with addiction, and your posts and videos remind me of how much of a struggle it really inspires me and how he can overcome. I share them to him all the time. Thank you. You helped me more than you know. Oh, I love.
That's beautiful. Those are easy comments. Hey, it's always nice to see that, because yeah, thank you, Karina, also.
All right, Christine. We love you. We're glad you're on.
Hey, Kim.
Oh, Kim.
Kim. Thank you, Kim.
Okay, New York. There's so many places I can attest you've been here for 15 years. I'm finally free. Thank you, Jesus.
Anya, Lucille. That's my
Yeah.
sister's name, by the way, Lucille. Go to Lucy.
Oh,
Hey, Alison. God bless Marissa.
let's go to this one real quick.
Yeah, what do we got here?
I've been struggling with opioid addiction for 6 years. I find it hard to live without popping down a couple pills every day to fit into society. I've been thinking my life is at the edge of collapsing. Um, S thoughts gushes into my mind. Addiction been heavy on my shoulder like anvil. I'm hoping to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm tired of everything. I hated myself for being so useless to humanity. Addiction took everything from me.
Yeah, much love, Rosie. I remember feeling like that also, like it does. You feel just absolutely defeated. But one thing that's such a fact, and I'm sure this is going to resonate, is like no one else at the end of the day can do this for you, Rosie. Like it's you. It's up to you. You are the only one who's going to be able to make that change. And I think, accessing the right services, putting in some things into place to start up that ball rolling. Just remember that, like, no one else can do this for you. It doesn't matter how much you pay, even someone. It's up to us. And sometimes
Mhm.
we just need to hear that harsh truth. Yeah, so it's true. No one else can do it for you.
No,
Um,
that's true. And I remember feeling the same way, Rosie. I remember thinking, like, it's over for me. I might as well not even try. Addiction has taken my whole life. I'm a big F up. But that wasn't really true, though. I mean, I was just really sick. And the only way for me to get better was to ask for help and to reach out and to do the work. So I'm glad that you're here. And I'm glad that you said something. I don't know where you're located at, but there is help available to you out there. So if you're in America, then you can hit me up. If you're in Australia, you can hit Danny up and
yeah,
we can connect you to some resources.
yeah. If anyone, that's a great point, Sonia. Just on that, and I don't know what it's like for you, but like I am across all social media platforms, but the best one to reach me on is just on Messenger. Like, send me a message on Messenger. I check it, at least every couple of days for the messages that are hidden, and I will respond to everyone too. So if you need to reach out, you can guarantee you'll get a response from me if you just message me on Messenger. And obviously, most of the people here are probably on Facebook, so you
Hmm.
do that.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yep, they sure are. And same. I check my message request every few days. I used
Yeah.
to do it every day in the beginning, but it just got a little bit overwhelming. So I do it like all at once every couple of days, and I try
Yeah.
to get as many as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. I often spend like at least 40 minutes a night, sometimes an hour, just responding to the messages through the day. So it's actually worked now. Like I just have to go to bed an hour early to catch up on the messages. Otherwise, I'll be doing my head in one day a week trying to respond to everyone because it's really important for me to do that.
Yeah.
Try and recover. It's one of those things. What am I willing to do? Recovery is definitely hard to. Absolutely, Dawn. It's very well worth it.
Oh, Lucille says she forgot she can message you. Yes.
Yeah, anytime, Lisa.
Yeah. So, okay. So this is what I'm thinking, right? We're talking about what you're willing to do, and maybe Rosie, if you want to just stay on, because that's what we're talking about tonight, which really goes with what you just shared. So I've told you the story about the hurricane, didn't I?
Um, well, yeah. Where was the hurricane? Yes, you did. I don't. Yes, you did. But share again.
Okay, I'm gonna tell it again. So when I was in my addiction, it was 2017, and Hurricane Irma was coming for the coast of Florida, and it was
Yes.
a really powerful hurricane. And actually, right before the hurricane hit, Steve started getting really sick. Like he was going in and out of
Of course.
consciousness, running really, really high fevers, under the covers, shivering, like sweating, cold sweats, but he wouldn't go to the hospital. So we finally talked him into trying to go to the hospital, and then we figured out that the hospital wasn't taking people because of the hurricane. So we had to batten down the hatches at my mom's house, and that's where I was at. Well, right before the hurricane, I was really, really tweaked out, right? And I didn't want to go to the methadone clinic, which I had been going to regularly because I just thought they all knew that I was high. And they probably did, but who cared? So, anyways, I didn't go, and we were going to be 4 days without any doses. So the hurricane came through, and about 4 o'clock in the morning, the hurricane passed over, and we still like 60-mile-an-hour winds. 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm like really starting to get dope sick. So I'm like, man, I really got to go get something. I don't know how I'm going to do it because there's a hurricane outside. But I called somebody that was 2 streets away from me, and she said she had something. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for it. My whole family's in the house sleeping. So I decided to go get in Steven's truck while he was nodding in and out of consciousness in the house. And I get into the truck and I start going down the road, and there's a tree down in the road. So I can't go any further. So now I have to get out of the truck because you think I'm going to turn around and go home? No, sir. So, so now I got to get out of the truck and walk down the road in the hurricane in 60-mile-an-hour winds with water up to my shins and go and get dope. And I remember when I cut the corner to start going down her road, there was a transformer about, I don't know, 100 feet away from me that had fallen down. It was like sparking. So I literally could have died out there, but I needed to get well, right? So I always like to tell that story when we talk about willingness, because
Yeah,
that's the willingness that I put into my addiction, right? And if I can do that for addiction, then I can do that kind of shit for my recovery.
that's bad, Sonia. So hang on a second. Tell me, did you get it? Did
Oh,
they?
I got it.
Wow, that's incredible that you even found someone 2 streets away that even was holding in the middle of a crisis like that. If I was that person in a crisis like that, I wouldn't be parting with any of my
Right.
just in case, you know.
Yeah.
Wow, that's such an insane story. Like, wow, it's intense, right?
Yep.
Um, yeah, well, yeah, but that's a great point. There's that little saying, if you just put 10% of the effort you put into your using into your recovery, you'll stay clean for the rest of your life. I love that. It makes so much sense. If you're willing to walk through the sparks, the rain, the 60-mile winds, and now you'll stay clean for the rest of your life if you put that effort in. That's
Yes.
gold. I love that. Um, one story I wanted to share with you. You reminded me of it. Is actually a story in recovery, like something I was willing to do to stay clean. I got this real bright idea. I was about 2 years clean to go traveling over to Europe by myself. I thought, man, I'm going, and it was a great idea, of course, right? But actually, I was 18 months clean, and so I bought me ticket. I bought a ticket for 6 weeks. I was going to go fly into Frankfurt, Germany, and anyway, on my way there, my girlfriend, who I'd been with for about 10 months, she broke up with me basically on the way. And when I landed in Germany, right, I find out that she's broken up with me. I played a massive part in her breaking up. There's no, so this isn't
Okay.
her. Like, I probably deserved it, but anyway. And then I also find out she's with somebody now who I know as well. So I'm almost 2 years clean. I'm in Frankfurt, Germany. I'm in the horrors. I've never experienced emotional pain like this before because I've just been stoned for 17 years. I never had those kind of feelings, you know. And anyway, I'm surrounded by crack cocaine, heroin, gambling establishments. I'm cashed up. I've got plenty of cash because I'm on a 8 week holiday to Europe, and I'm in a country where I thought everyone would speak English. No one fucking spoke English. Like, it was bullshit. I thought everyone in Germany and in Europe would speak English. Well, hardly anyone could. So here I am on the other side of the world. I'm surrounded by all these drugs and gambling establishments, and I thought all I could do, like,
Mhm.
was get to a meeting actually. And then I went to this meeting in Germany, and I met this dude by the name of Vivek. Right, this guy could speak English. He was an absolute champion, and he even translated at the meeting that I was at, and which was cool. It was like this super awesome experience. And I guess the where I'm going with this story is that for the next 6 weeks, I backpacked through Germany, France, Italy, and Croatia, crying. I was in Venice, in Italy, right? I was in the back streets of Venice, in Italy, thinking, this is such a unique experience, right? Venice is really romantic city, right? And I'm there crushed, brokenhearted. I'm crying through the streets. I'm on a gondola cruising around Venice, Italy, but kind of loving it, but also just crushed. And thank God I talk about this story that Facebook saved my life, because if it wasn't for Facebook and me connecting with people and being a big baby over in Europe, like, the support I was getting was amazing. And the
Mhm.
time difference really made it hard to talk to anyone as well, because but anyway, I soldiered on for the 6 weeks and made it back to Australia. I didn't pick up a drink or a drug or a gamble. Because if I did, I probably would never have made it out of bloody Europe. I would have been stuck in jail in no time, you know. And
Mhm.
yeah, and that was one of the things that really built my foundation for recovery. You know, 6 weeks
Mhm.
of absolute torment. I continued doing everything that I got taught in the early days of my recovery, and here I am, still here. So yeah, I wanted to share that story. So
The gondola, though, that was funny.
you had to get on a gondola, like
The guy that's pushing it is like, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
so beautiful, Venice. Like it's literally the streets are rivers. Like it's crazy. It's so beautiful.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, you're too
Love to
funny.
go there. And so somebody like drives around a boat, right? Like a taxi, but you get in it.
Yeah, yeah. You
That's
can.
cool.
There's all different. You basically go by boat. You can travel between like locations on boat. It's just so beautiful.
So they probably don't have cars there, do they?
No, they do. There's definitely
Oh,
streets too. There's roads as well, but a lot of it is is those canals, is those rivers. Oh, it's so beautiful. Imagine like you haven't been there, eh, Sonia?
no, I've never. Well, actually, I went to Puerto Rico and I went to Canada once, but I've never been off the actual continent. The
Well, it's absolutely beautiful. Like
North
you say
America.
you're going down like it's like a street and there's houses. They're waterfront. Their front door is literally if you walk out the front door, you fall in the river. Like it's like
What?
that. Right? But then there is streets as well. There is transport as well. Um,
That's awesome. I would love to do something like that. Honestly, I'm scared to get on a plane though. So
oh, yeah, you gotta do it anyway. Like you still wish, yeah. You, travel's the best thing on the world. It lights me up, you know. Hey,
yeah.
John, I've been clean for
Oh,
16 years, 8 months. I continued to ask for help to stop, and now try to help others. But it's up to them to get what you want, something different. My son is over 17 months. So congratulations, John. I've been speaking to John a little bit on Messenger. Well
oh.
done, John. Thank you for the work you do, mate.
Hmm. Yeah, that's awesome, right? To be clean for 16 years and then to be able to give that gift to your son, that is a
Ah,
beautiful
yeah,
thing.
it is, isn't it?
Hmm.
And you can't, you'd think being clean for 16 years, you might be out of control. It's a scary thing having our family, our children, um,
Yeah.
in addiction, like the possibility of that. So such a scary thought, I've never been on. Lucille's never been out of off either, eh? You need to
I
get
don't
out
know.
there
I'm
too,
having
Lucy.
trouble keeping up with these comments here. Okay. Okay. No, but addiction runs in my family, and I didn't know until I got into recovery that recovery runs in my family too. My grandfather has 40 years clean, or well, actually sober from AA. So I thought that was pretty
Wow.
cool. I
How
just
many?
recently learned. Hmm.
40 years. Hey, Sonia, see a comedy. Sonia, Steve should take you to Venice. Yes, the bottom one. Yes, Steve, take Sonia to Venice. Get on the
Yeah, but
gondolas.
he's not going to get me on the plane. That's the problem.
Ah, yes. You can catch a boat there.
See, I used to take plane rides, but I used to get nice and laid back before I got on the plane. I
Yeah,
can't do that anymore.
lubricated.
Exactly. Okay. She says, have tried going cold turkey so many times and it's not working. I've tried tapering off, but the cravings won't stop because I can't, the withdrawals of sickness. I just wanted to just comment on that real quick because
Sure.
that, what you just said, kept me in my addiction for so many years. I was afraid to get sick. I couldn't understand why I couldn't quit on my own. I thought that I could just quit anytime that I wanted to. But what I learned is that I am not more powerful than the addiction. When I'm in it, it has total control over my life. So the only way to win against addiction is to surrender, right? But you can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to stop using," because once you're in it, it has control over you. So just saying like, "Oh, I'm just going to stop using," it doesn't work that way. So what I learned, right, is that we have to arrest the addiction, arrest the disease, and that means like if you're in it and you can't stop, even though you want to stop and you're using against your own will, then you got to remove yourself from it, right? Like whether that means going to hospital or a detox or, For me, it was jail, but it doesn't have to be that way. You could go somewhere else without having to go to jail.
Well, it is funny, yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever it takes.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so true. So true. Like I'm speaking to someone at the moment who's one day clean, and he's telling me he's in a center, right? He's in a treatment center. He's saying he can go. He wants to go home. I've had enough. But man, I'm going, bro. You. I've heard this before a million times. Like you're not ready. You're not haven't had enough. If you're in a center that's gonna get like you need all the help you can get. And
Yeah.
removing yourself from our situations at home and getting into a service, you're very lucky if you can, eh?
Yeah. And what are we like leaving early for anyways? There's really like no good reason to leave rehab early. We need
No.
it as long as we can get. And even if somebody who thinks that they know everything, because it's only through understanding and application that it works. Like you have to not just know it, but you also have to do it. Because without one or the other, like it doesn't work.
Yeah, I remember there's another saying: you don't need to change much; you just need to change everything.
Yes,
I love that.
exactly. Yes,
It's so
give up
spot
one
on.
thing for everything or everything for one thing. Yep. Robert says you got to change the way you thinking first. Exactly.
Absolutely. This is a good one. I love people talking about methadone. This is good. Let's talk about this. We
Okay.
definitely do need to arrest the disease without recovery meetings and sponsorship. And actually, controversially, methadone and my higher power, God, I would be dead for sure. I, I agree, especially when you've mentioned the controversial side of it. I've learned so much on this journey of recovery, and certainly sharing the message of recovery. Like these people that want to dictate who is clean and who's not clean, I just think it's really unfair. I reckon recovery equals our level of happiness and our quality of life. It's to say
Mhm.
what you need, and maybe methadone's part of your journey to total abstinence. Maybe it's not.
Yep.
But as long as you're in a better space, I think. What do you think, Sonia, about that?
Oh, I think that's a great topic, and I totally
Yeah,
100% agree with you. And it was social media that changed my mind about this.
me too.
Because when I
Yeah,
first started
totally.
posting on social media, like I was 12 steps hardcore all day. But
Me too.
when that happened, that's where I needed to be for me, for my own
Yeah,
journey,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But then the more that I've learned and the more that I've participated and been a part of other people's recovery, especially out here on social media, I have learned so much. And this is what's really happening out there. I don't know what the statistics are there in Australia, but 110,000 people lost their life in 2022 to drug overdose. 107,000 people lost their life to drug overdose in 2021. I don't get how what they're working, like, or what they're taking. Like, if it's working and it's keeping you from becoming one of those statistics, keep doing that. And Danny's right, because if that can be a path to abstinence later in the future, that's the goal, right? I mean, it's to get you off of it long enough to build the life so that one day you can taper down off of it. But take your time. There's no rush. Like nobody gets to say whether or not you're clean, whether or not you're not clean. Anybody who tries to tell you that needs to take a good hard look in the mirror, right? Because it's not up to me to decide what's clean or not.
Yeah, true. And you know what? So it's so true. Like we learned that through social media. It's the same for me. So I was really closed minded, and I can't believe I was closed minded. I thought I was actually really open minded for like basically for the almost a decade of my recovery. I
Mhm.
thought because I'd tried every way before. I tried methadone, I tried naltrexone, implants, God, hypnotism, all of that stuff, and none of that stuff worked for me until I got clean in Narcotics Anonymous, right? And so
Mhm.
then I became brainwashed. And look, thank God, because my brain needed washing, right? But I believed that total abstinence was the only way to recover because that's what worked for me. And please don't take me wrong, guys. Like I believe total abstinence for me is the only way, 100%. But who are these people, and who was I to? Because I was one of those people, those
Yeah.
judgmental people. Not so much people on methadone, but people that were drinking and still identifying as being clean. Like I used to think,
Mhm.
who am I to like? Who is anyone to say what equals recovery for you? I think recovery equals a quality of life. And if your quality of life is better than it used to be, at least you're moving forward and heading in that direction. And yeah, it really makes me angry when people try and dictate that, the terms of your recovery.
Mhm. Yeah, because
Um,
I think that's where we lose people. If you tell somebody that what they're doing isn't good enough, and then they're like, "Well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna give up and go get high or whatever," and then next thing you know, they're not here anymore. So it's just not worth that.
Lee, what's Lee saying here? I agree, Amber. I agree, Amber. I was 4 years last Saturday. Congratulations, Lee. It's still so unsettled, but having said that, I have a lot of family stuff going on. Up you go, Lee. Lee's me and Lee got clean around about the same time back in
Oh,
2009. And yeah, and now you're 4 years again, Lee. That's so good.
that's
Legend.
awesome.
So good to hear.
Congratulations, Lee. Yeah. So let me ask you this: do they have harm reduction there?
Yeah, they look, our rehabs, a lot of our rehabs will literally have needles in the toilet, so that, which I think is kind of ridiculous. I still think,
Mhm.
but I understand it, right? So if you leave rehab, they'll give you a 6 pack of needles, water, and swabs. Yeah, do they do? That's it. That's one of
Like,
our
here,
harm
be
reduction.
clean, but here's stuff to use with if you decide to.
Yeah, yeah. And like every time I left, it's like, no, I'm not going to use. I don't need that. But I'm straight to get on. So,
Right.
but yeah. So I mean, that's an extreme example of harm reduction. But of
Mhm.
course, like methadone is legal here. Like I mean, it's free. In a lot of our places, we've got all these different ones. There's that injection they give you now for which is really quite effective.
Yes.
Yes,
Subutex.
yeah,
No, no,
yeah, yeah.
suffocate.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
supplement.
Mhm.
But yeah, Andrew, 22 years clean. Congratulations, Andrew.
Yeah.
Towards the end of my using Harry, I was only using to stop the sickness. Andrew, you're an absolute legend, bro. Thanks for all your support and encouragement always, Andrew. Andrew, do you follow Sonya? I bet you do. Andrew's always in all my stuff. He's like the biggest supporter.
I
Thank
love
you.
people like that.
Yeah, I know.
Bobby says, "Hello, my friend, and hello, mate. I've made it a long way. It's been a long week, rough week, but I'm still clean. Had a few trigger moments, of course. It smells and sounds, but nope, all good. Still, thanks be to God."
Hey, Bobby. Thank you, mate. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, Buvidol. Oh, hey, Amber. That's my daughter's mum. Hey, Amber, you legend. Buvidol. Yeah, they call it Buvidol. Yeah, it's some good stuff, that Buvidol these days. It's
Oh, okay. I was looking. Okay.
yeah, this
There was
one.
two Ambers in a row. Did you see
Oh,
that?
yeah, right.
No,
Hey,
it's not. Okay.
Amber, this is my mate Sonia from Florida. Um,
Hi.
yeah, yeah.
I don't think we have that here. What's it called? Buvidal?
Buvidol. Yeah, so that's what you said. It's a you call it a block. What's it called? Blockade or some?
Suffocate.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the injection. I think it's like a gel they inject in, and they can. There's one. We know someone just last week who got a week dose. So for 1 week, they dosed him up for a week, and he was over the heroin withdrawals. Well, in a way, like there's no easy way, guys. No matter how you're going to do it, you have to suffer some pain. You can't just get off a big heroin habit and think that there's going to be some medication that's just going to magically make me not sick. Like if you get through it without being sick, you haven't done it because
Mm-hmm.
I would think you'd fuck up again. You got to
Yeah.
suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Suffering is part of recovery. Yeah.
Yep. I heard a TikTok the other day. It was Ben Affleck, and he said the cure to addiction is suffering. And I mean, there's no
Yeah,
cure to
right.
addiction, but that's real though, because it's the suffering and pain that I felt in the end that actually made me want to change.
Hey, Brett, what's the U-Butte?
I know. I thought maybe you would know what that was.
No, Brett, can you please explain? Is that like you beauty? You mean like the U beauty?
Yeah,
Um,
I think that we're behind you guys. Like when it comes to people recognizing medicated assisted treatment, I think that we're behind you guys in that because we're just now coming out with. I mean, Suboxone and methadone has been around for years and years, but it's not been accepted by like the jails, the treatment centers, and you haven't been. You could do it on probation now. You could do it if you're working at case line for your kids. You could do it in a lot of treatment centers and the
yeah,
jails. You couldn't used to do that though. When I got clean, that was not an option. So this is like brand new that they're doing that.
yeah, right. Um, yeah. Look, okay, just on that, like, can I'm currently about 90 or 100 days off the cigarettes, right? And for my whole recovery, I've struggled with smoking. Like, I've always wanted to be off them, and I would always try. And there was this medication called Champix. I don't know if you have it there. Yeah, you probably know.
I
Well,
think I've heard of it before. I'm writing it down
it's
though.
a pretty dangerous. It's a pretty
Oh,
dangerous medication because it sends people a bit loopy. It gives you really bad dreams. I've heard of people going like wanting to harm themselves from being on it. But anyway, it worked really effectively for me. But the problem is, the minute I'd stop taking it, my head would say, "Oh, you need a cigarette." So half of my recovery, I've been off the smokes, but the other half I kept relapsing. And finally, this last time around, I just want to share this because I never thought I could ever stop smoking without something. I always thought I needed patches or um, inhalers or something else. But this final time around, I managed to just put them down like 100 days. New Year's Eve, I quit, which is such a kind of cliche thing because no one ever pulls off New Year's resolutions, do they?
no.
It's a lie, New Year's resolution. But yeah, I haven't had one since, and I did it finally without anything, and it just reminds me of that comment because like trying to look for a solution to get through something easier. At the end of the day, we have to just front up and do it.
No, you're right. I needed to hear that. Listen, I have been vaping for
Sure.
I quit
Me too.
smoking and picked up a vape, and it is not better. I am so addicted. I literally everywhere I go, even if I'm in the bathroom, this is in my hand, or
Me
it's
too,
in my.
Sonia. Yeah. I was like that too. Do you know what? I've got a mate, Bronco. He says vaping is buprenorphine for smokers, you know. Uh, but,
Yeah,
but yeah, I was the same. Like vapes are even worse than the cigarettes because you don't stink. You can do it inside. You can do it on the plane. I'll vape on the plane, like in the dark. But yeah, you can yeah, you mean buprenorphine, Brett? Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. We're talking about that,
yeah.
Brett.
We got that
100%.
here.
Yeah, that's what you meant, Brett.
Mhm.
Yeah, Brett's one of my sort of seniors at the rehab I went through. He's been around for some time, Brett. On your legend.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
many, so many comments coming through.
I know. Yeah, Lucille says it's a comfort. It is. This is my binky. Like this is my
I
pacifier.
get it, totally.
But
Well,
it's been really convicting me lately though. Like I really want to stop, I really do. And then I'm thinking, oh, I need to go. So I tried the gum, or no, I tried the little drops, like nicotine drops. I don't like them. They make me feel really weird. I tried the little things that go inside of your lip. I don't like those. They just make me feel weird. So I thought about, let me try the gum. But now that I'm listening to you, like I feel like I just need to just get over it, and just suck it up and get through it for a few days.
it's not. Look, it's so hard. But I guess one point is like I never thought I could do it without a substitute. But actually, when I
Mhm.
finally committed this time on New Year's Eve, it's actually been the easiest time I've ever done it. And just a reminder, like, and please, I'm not a reform smoker by any way, but the vape, like, because I'm at the gym every day. This is I could really tell physically it's just as putrid as the
Yeah.
cigarettes, man. It takes like
Mhm.
I know, like when I'm off the vape, I'm like 400% more physical. Like everything just works so much better. My sleeping, my eating, my tasting. Anyway, the vape's putrid, but it was good too. Like, oh yeah, please don't take me wrong. I'm not saying I'm a reformer. I'm
Well, I
just
like
saying
the way
like
it
it's.
smells, but I don't like the way it makes me feel. You're right. Like it makes it hard for me to breathe.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Bretto. You too, bro.
Yeah, positive self-talk, you gotta want it bad enough. I mean, that's all real. And I like what you said about like a relapse on cigarettes, like to think about it that way, right? Like I'm quitting cigarettes, like day one, I'm gonna go get me a white tea tag, quit some cigarettes, put that kind of energy into it. So what did
That's
you
interesting.
do when you first quit?
Yeah, that's interesting. This comment, especially about you hear it all the time, right? That smoking is harder than quitting
Mhm.
drugs, and in a lot of ways it makes sense because like I haven't used drugs for a long time, but I'm only 100 days off the cigarettes. But actually, I don't know. Like I think that's an excuse. And I use that excuse. I think it's an excuse to keep smoking too. Like it's
Yeah.
not. It is harder because it's so socially accepted. They're
Mhm.
everywhere around us. But still, at the end of the day, like it's like heroin, hanging out, withdrawals, diarrhea, vomiting. That's a lot harder than hanging out for a cigarette. Really, let's face it.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, but Sonia, I drank lots of water. I just I just said no more. Like I tell myself, shut the fuck
Mhm.
up. You're not having a cigarette. And I just actually it was pretty easy. Like because I committed to it, I just felt like I'm over this. I can't do it no more. My daughter, my son, I want to be present. I've got a business I'm trying to run. I don't function half as good or even a quarter as good when I'm vaping because I just feel tired. I used to
Yeah.
vape so much, liquid used to drip out my nose. Has that ever happened to you? Vape
This
liquid
is
would
how
drip
you
out.
know you're an addict when you take vaping to that extreme.
I swear to God, like I used to puff on them so hard that sometimes vape liquid would drip out my nose. Tell me, has that happened to anyone else? Yeah, horrible.
That's never happened to me, but it has dripped in my mouth before. But
Oh, it's putrid, isn't it? When it goes in your mouth, it might be not feel nice on the lungs, but tapered ciggies the other one.
yeah,
Yeah, anyway, guys, it's whatever's going to work for you.
yeah,
Amber's going to buy ciggies now. Good on you, Amber. She actually, can I just say, Amber's the one that gave me the courage to stop without anything. Like she kept saying to me, because I'd be off the smokes, I'd go and pick up my daughter, right? And usually I'll be off the smokes. But then one day, then I'd sit down out the front and I'd say, "Can I have a smoke?" And she would say, and I would, and then I'd have it, and I'd get these mad head spins, and then I'd be on again. I'd be smoking again.
yeah,
And she said to me something. She said to me one day was that like when you take the champions, you keep thinking anyways, and she convinced me to try it without it, and sure enough, it worked.
that's awesome. Good job, Amber. I love that.
Yeah, it was the best.
Yeah, Lucille says that they have. Do you know they're saying down here some vapes have THC and fentanyl? Yeah, that's true. That's true. They got
What?
new
Oh,
stuff going around down here called xylazine. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but it's this new. It's not fentanyl. It's a horse tranquilizer. So the first it was fentanyl, and then it was carfentanil, which I believe is like an elephant tranquilizer or something. Now they got this stuff called xylazine, which is a horse tranquilizer, and it's called they call it the zombie drug or whatever because it will literally eat your flesh. I know somebody that has a hole in their leg as we speak from shooting up this new drug that's going around, and it's Narcan resistant, so you can't get Narcan if
wow.
overdose.
But hang on, when Lucy was saying that they're selling vapes, is that intentional? Like, do you mean like? Well, you're not saying Lucio that they're just selling vapes in the shops. Those cops. Are you saying you can purposely smoke fentanyl for a vape? Because that's
I
something
don't
I
think
would have
so.
definitely been on. I used to think that would be cool if you could do that. But yeah, well,
Yeah,
um,
well, I know you can definitely do the THC vapes now, but
yeah, well. Excuse
they
me
do
for.
it all over
Excuse me
here.
for
Okay,
I'll be back.
okay, okay. Yeah, and Lucille, yes, xylazine did a review on OASAS. I'm not sure what that is and took the test. I heard they were selling them in shops. You heard they were selling them with fentanyl in shops? Oh my gosh, that should be so illegal. That is illegal. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's really dangerous though. Like when I think about it now, I just can't even imagine going back to it. And For the girl that we had in the comments earlier that's struggling, like, please reach out because it is so freaking dangerous out there right now. I mean, people are dropping left and right, and I just don't want to see any more people get lost to this disease. So, Rosie, if you're still in here, please reach out and get some help. It really is getting dangerous out there. I used to go into the detox centers, and in my area, went into the detox centers, and I can't tell you how many people that I met in the detox center that had either smoked a joint and had fentanyl, or they had done a stimulant and it had fentanyl in it, or they did not never done fentanyl before and wound up doing something else or trying something even for the first time and it had fentanyl in it and they overdosed, and thankfully they got brought into the detox. Thankfully they got brought back, but they're putting it in everything. I mean, I don't understand why they do it, honestly, but they do. Like, why would somebody want to eliminate their clientele? I don't get that, but it's happening.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. THC is legal in Virginia for even personal use without a medical marijuana card.
It's crazy. Well, I guess it's not that crazy. Like, if alcohol is legal, I guess pot should be legal too. Why not make heroin legal? Just legalize everything. Maybe that would work. Who knows? But I just know, like, if you smoke pot or if you take alcohol or heroin the way I do, it's not doesn't work. It doesn't
No.
work. I abuse it to change the way I feel because I don't feel normal without it. And when you have that problem,
Hmm.
this doesn't work, does it?
Right, exactly. I have mixed feelings on that. There are some places in the US where they've decriminalized drugs, like all drugs. And so I have mixed feelings on that because I wouldn't be here if I didn't get arrested and then get sent to treatment. But it's not like that in every area. Like, some areas you just go to prison. And I don't think that prison is necessarily the answer for people or addicts. I don't think that prison is the answer, but sometimes it is. So it's
Well,
like a hodgepodge. You don't know if it's going to work or not.
yeah, you're very yeah, you are. I love your story with going to treatment and getting lucky enough to get taken to into the treatment center there.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I think, and I know this because I've worked with probably 100 people coming from prison who stop while they're in prison. But just you know what, getting clean in prison. This is what I reckon. Getting clean in prison isn't recovery. You clean because you haven't got it and you don't have access to it.
Mhm.
That doesn't equal recovery. For me, recovery equals like working on myself, putting a lot of effort into changing who I am. You can't do that in prison, my belief, because you can't be honest about your feelings in prison. What are you going to say to old mate? Oh, I'm feeling, I'm having a feeling, I'm really triggered. I want to use. You can't. You get bashed saying that shit. You can't. Prison recovery, stopping using drugs in prison does not equal recovery. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Hmm. Yep.
Uh, I
And
love
social acceptability doesn't equal recovery either. I
it.
just did an interview with, and I should connect you to this guy. I just did an interview with this guy that from TikTok, and his
Thanks,
name is
man.
Hardaway Learning. And so he went to prison, and he was an addict of all sorts, did any kind of drug, went to prison for bank robbery, and he got clean in prison without any 12 steps or any medicated assistance treatment, nothing. He read books. He read books and he worked on himself and went inside, and he's still clean now. He's like got 4 years clean. But the
Well,
half of prison though, he was getting messed up. And then when COVID happened, then he stopped using because there was no drugs coming into prison. And he's been
yeah.
ever since he got out.
Congratulations, Dan. So good to hear, mate. I know there are rare examples of people that do
Yeah.
it. It's just kind of like, yeah, there are. There's always some rare examples.
Yeah,
Um,
there is. It can go both ways, but the majority of time I don't think it goes the good way. I think it goes the way.
of course, definitely not.
Yeah. Yeah, and what Leanne says too, like there's too much access to drugs in there too. That's so true. I mean, you could do drugs in prison the whole time that you're there. And is I don't know because I've never been to prison before, but I would imagine what you have to do for them is probably a lot worse than what you have to do out here on the street.
Yeah, maybe. That's funny because when Sonya says funny, what you just said then is different in America to Australia, but like prison is just prison here. Jail is prison. It's all the same shit for us. But you have been to jail, Sonya,
Hmm.
but you haven't been to prison. So that's kind of a weird thing for an Aussie to hear. I've been to jail, but I haven't been to prison. Like it doesn't make sense in our head. Am I right, guys? Like because it's the same thing for us. But
Oh, really? So if you get, let's say you get arrested, you're gonna, and then you get sentenced to like 3 years. Are you gonna stay in the same facility the whole time?
oh, the same, yeah, basically, yes, you are.
No.
Like, you might not be in the same facility, they'll move you around, but the facilities are the same. Once you're out of the police station, you're in jail, like prison. It's the same. We call it the same. It is the same thing, yeah. But I know you guys, it's crazy. You can be in jail for how long? And you're just in one little center for how long? What's the
Yes.
longest you can stay in jail for without going?
11 months and 29 days. However, that with that being said, if you're waiting on trial, you might be in there for 2, 3, 4 years, depending on how big your charges are. And it is
So,
not fun in there.
So,
It's
guys, that means like the SPC, we've got this joint called the Surrey Hills Police Centre. That's jail for you. That's
Mhm.
what you call jail. Imagine being the SPC for 12 months. Mate, that place is putrid. It's the worst
Mhm.
joint ever. You don't see the light of day. You
Nope.
don't. You definitely don't get a smoke.
Nope.
You're struggling to get your dose of methadone. They treat you like shit in there. The
Oh
food
yeah.
is crap. No
Yeah.
cook up. No
No.
yard time.
We get what they call meat wads. It's like a ball of meat. You get it for breakfast and for
That's
dinner. And for lunch every day, bologna sandwiches. Same thing every night of the week.
meat wad.
Yeah,
They
meat
know
wads.
in different areas. I haven't been in my daughter's done 3.5 years. Well, your daughter's done 3.5 years, mate. God.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they just move you to different prisons, depending what your classification is, but it's all the same thing. Prison jail here is all the same thing. I love that about America. There's quite a few differences,
Yeah.
with this.
Well, it's better when you get to prison. Well, depending on what level of prison you go to, they have minimum, maximum, and medium security. But if you're in like a minimum security, you can have a lot of contact with the outside world. You could go to work, you can have a cell phone, you could even dress your like in regular clothes in certain places. So it's better once you get to prison. If people know
Well,
they're going, they want to go to prison. They want to just go get it over with and get out of the jail.
Well, on that, Sonia, I should just share. I'm what we call an E classo, which is the most maximum security prison. Not the most because you got supermax, but I'm an E classo, which stands for escapee. So because I escaped from prison
Oh
back in
yeah.
the day, my classo still today, even after being in recovery for so long, is still an E classo. I'd have to go back in, which hopefully that never ever
Mm,
happens, and get that changed. But that means maximum security, wherever I
yeah.
go. I've been to many detox facilities. Yeah, Andrew. I've been to many detox facilities in the 90s, and some were medicated, but some weren't. The ones that weren't medicated wanted you to remember how bad it was withdrawing. It's a good
Yeah.
method. Yeah, it's so true, Andrew. Hey, Andrew, I
Mhm.
remember Cumberland Hospital, Basement 82, Wisteria Lodge. I know Andrew's from out my way too. He knows the exact same rehabs and detoxes I went to. Westmount, Westmount was putrid, but yeah, there was no medication back then. Like there was no bube or um, Cumberland
Mhm.
Hospital. I went through. They used to give you this stuff called Catapress and Buscopan. That would be your detox. Catapress lowers your blood pressure, and Buscopan helps with the cramps. That's all you'd get. Kick along with it, eh,
Yeah,
Andrew?
down here too. And if you have like an upset stomach, you get Imodium and they have colonidine, I think, for lowering your blood pressure. This is my aunt, Danny. This is my aunt Lisa.
Hey,
Uh,
Lisa.
and okay, so what she's saying is right, right? THC cures cancer and helps with epilepsy. That's really true. And for thousands of years, America's made it a bad thing in the 60s. So back in the 60s, I read an article about this. Back in the 60s, there was a movie about marijuana and how when people did marijuana, they would become these werewolf type people and it would make them do all of these crazy things. And I want to say that it was after the alcohol prohibition. It had something to do with all of that. So there was alcohol was illegal, and then people would like bootleg alcohol, and run it up and down the state to get it to people. But they made marijuana look really bad, and they made it look like people would like drink your blood whenever they did marijuana, and it got a really bad name, and it stayed like that for so many years. So that's really a true story. Like they made it
Yeah,
into
wow.
crazy. Yes. So that they could get people on medication. Exactly. Big pharma did it. Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
big drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy stuff. The times have changed for sure. There's a lot of crazy stuff out there in this world, mate.
Hmm. Yes, Megan, I am so proud of you, girl. So I have known Megan since I was like, geez, at least 15 years. And she's just coming up on her 1 year clean. And I'm so proud of you for that, Megan. So proud of
Yeah,
you.
Megan, congratulations. I like your name, Megan. I like the way it's
Mhm.
spelled. If that's the way you
Yeah.
spell it. It's cool. Congratulations.
Lee says my first detox was in the basement in 82. I bet
So,
that was
yeah,
bad. Sounds like it.
Leah, well, that was probably one of my first detoxes too, Basement 82. That's a centre here in at RPA Hospital.
Oh,
Um,
I thought he meant the actual basement.
no, but it was putrid. But yeah, me too, Lee. Yeah, I remember Basement 82. They shut that one down. I remember one of the workers there, Sean. He's about 40 years clean now. And I remember back then he was this big bullfed. I used to just think, who are you, mate? But now he's out there clean and sober for a lot of time up. I never knew back then that he was in recovery. I was
Oh, that's
delusional.
cool.
I was delusional in my early days. Like, like I used to go to detox from a young age. I was never clean.
Yeah.
It was just to shut people up or the jails. They released me. I never ever had any idea. Not that I had no idea, but I never really thought I could do it, and I never tried. Really, I just used to leave and use, leave and use, leave
Did you
and use.
ever like get exposed to recovery? Like, did you ever go to like a meeting, or just you just weren't even wanting to give it a try at
Yeah,
all?
yeah. A lot of those detoxes have a meeting you'd have to go to. So I did, but it's like it was a blur. It's like I never, ever, ever paid attention until finally the last time. They talk about the
Hmm.
seed being planted, but I didn't pay any attention. Like none of those meetings I did in the first 10 years of my addiction that I went to detox had any impact on me.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I have a friend actually, and she went through 8 treatment centers before she got clean. She's in some of my videos sometimes, but that's what she says too. Like the first eight treatment centers, she does not remember a single thing that they said. It was just
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Um, Yeah, and it's funny that we say that because you talk about like the seed being planted, but necessarily like if you really switched off or if you're out of it, there's no seed planted until you're
Right.
really ready to hear it, aren't you?
Yeah, the soil has to be ground up and toiled a lot
Yeah,
before the seed can be planted.
good point, Sonia. I agree. It does.
Okay, Erica says, can we get information regarding opening up a decent rehab center? She's in your area.
And where is she?
I don't know, but I'm guessing she's connected to your. Where are you at, Erica?
No, I don't think she's one of mine. But it's hard work, mate. Opening up a rehab center. There's so many things you need to consider. Um, and thank God we do have people out there who are. But you really need to get in tune with so many different government regulations, resources, policies, procedures. Like you can't. I guess you can start. The best way to start a rehab, I reckon, would be like a 3 or a 5 bed facility and just learn as you go. It would have to start off to be privately funded because getting money to do that. Oh, you're in Western Sydney. Yeah, you're right. But yeah. Look, you know what, Erica? I've been offered quite a few times to get involved in setting up a treatment center. And my journey, I worked in treatment centers for 10 years. To be honest, I'm like I love carrying the message, certainly like this, but I can't. I don't want to go back and working in a treatment center, but I have looked into it, and it just done my head in. Like I'm mentally not capable of all the work involved. Like there's so much criticism too to get into
Mhm.
it. It's such a hard thing to do. I hope I don't put people off with that, but there's just different. There's the right people you need for the job, and it's certainly not me. You know.
Right. And you know what? I want to just say this, Erica. Maybe a good thing to do would be to open up a halfway house or something because I think that's a lot less work, even though it is still a lot of work though. I mean, it's still going to be a lot of work. You have to have insurance, you have to know people in the community, you have to find the right place, and there is a lot of work that goes into it, but not nearly as much as a treatment center. However, I do think that it could be a step towards getting a treatment center because you're going to be making those connections in the community and getting to know, I think that's a step in the right direction towards that.
There's definitely not enough centers out there. I agree, Erica, and
Mhm.
we need people like you willing to take the step and start setting up another one. And the thing is, a lot of them fail too. And that's a big, that puts people off too. But like I would highly suggest you give it a crack. Find out the
Yeah.
information you need. There's just a lot. Like I worked in this center, and mate, just like the policies and procedures book is like this thick. It's just ridiculous, And you
Mhm.
need a lot of money. Like looking after a client for 3 months, it's very expensive. Like you need cash. Hey, Casey. Casey, did you end up getting interviewed by that media person? Because I missed it if you did.
All right. Well, I'm getting close to my bedtime,
Yeah,
so
cool. We have a rehab where we teach people to tongue. It's crazy. What's that, Amber? We have a rehab where they teach people in tongues. It's crazy. Someone like that can do it. Anyone can. Yeah, true.
that's
True.
pretty crazy.
Um.
True.
Yeah. Cool. I've got a big day ahead. You're ready for bed. I've got a big day ahead of
Yeah.
I'll be meeting with our app developer, my web developer, in half an hour. Some exciting stuff going on with my encapsulator app. Will be um,
Oh, I
releasing
want to
up.
try your app. I really want to try the encapsulator.
Sonia, we're so close for it being available to everyone really easy as well. So at the moment, like we've put a lot of work into it, but it's not that easy to access. So a couple more weeks, there'll be a free version available for everyone to basically record video messages to the future you, lock it away into our time lock vault, waiting to be discovered at a date that you choose in the future. So I can't wait. So I'd love to jump on a live with you once it's out and give you a demo and show you
Yeah.
how that'll be really cool. And everyone will be able to access it for free too. So that would be amazing, mate.
Yeah, let's do it. And definitely we should probably come back in like a month and just do another live anyway. So
Definitely. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
okay, bye everybody. Good night,
Yeah.
Danny.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.